Wonderful to see all of you. And before I talk any further or anything, I am going to give a special shout out to two of my favorite Stevens alumni who are both here. Miss Diana and I go back a ways, and she has taught me, talking of how I was listening to the last presentation on serving on nonprofit boards or on boards in general. And Diana has taught me personally so much about serving on boards as we have done service together. And I also see a dear friend of mine, Katie. We were in school at the same time, and so I wanted to say hi, Katie. So I couldn't miss the opportunity to say hello to some dear Stevens alumni. So I am Noah Hartsfield. I am the manager here at the Center for Career and Professional Development, or the CCPD. The CCPD is Stevens College's Career Services Office, and we do a lot of different things. And I was asked today to talk about ways that alumni can be involved with the CCPD, because we have this great opportunity where we can use your expertise, and we can use your experience, and we can use your abilities to share with students. I'm actually coming to you live from the CCPD, the physical location. As you might guess, this is not my office. One of the things that we have in the wonderful space that is our CCPD are interview rooms that students can utilize to have mock interviews, to have full internship and full-time job interviews, especially in this age of Zoom interviewing and things like that. This room and another room like it serve the ability for a student to check them out, to sit in here. They don't have to worry about a roommate coming through. They don't have to worry about someone knocking on the dorm room door or anything like that. They have a quiet location with a lovely Stevens backdrop that they can have these interviews in. And so, know that hopefully in the future, I can get some of you in these rooms. These rooms can be utilized to interview in person, but also in this virtual space. I've been with Stevens since January, and I have loved every single minute that I have been here. My background is in both career services and human resources within higher education. And specifically in human resources, I've been both a generalist and worked in recruitment. And so this is a lovely transition back to for me to go back to career services and to get to work with our students here. So this is really meant to be a conversation. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to talk about some ways you can be involved, but I really want to hear from you what your questions are. What can I answer for you? I am sharing my screen. This is the one and only slide I have. I'm not going to do a big PowerPoint presentation, but I like to put resources out there for folks. And so, just some of the ways that you could be involved with the CCPD. The CCPD, we do two types of things. We run a curriculum. Those of you who were in the session on the Path to the Boardroom heard Dr. Willie talk about this graduation requirement that we have of students, that they have to go through this curriculum that we've developed. And the curriculum is focused on the foundational aspects of career readiness, right? It's knowing what you want to do for your career. It's knowing how to talk about yourself, build a resume, conduct an interview. It's talking about that personal branding and what is your online presence. It's talking about things like, I want an internship, but how do I go about finding that internship? And all those things. But beyond that foundation that we lay, then the opportunity is to start helping students envision what their future holds. For some, that may be executive service and board work in both the profit and nonprofit realm. For some students I talk to, their dream is to own their own business, to be that entrepreneur, to be their own boss, and to work on the projects they want to work on, and to build their life with their two hands. And so, we lay this foundation that's universal for everyone, and then we help them see what they can do and see the options and help to start envisioning their future. So ways that you can be involved in that. We have lots of Programming, and we'll have lots more programming where we have workshops and panels. We would love for alumni to be guest panelists, to be presenters. If you have half a day or a day that you're willing to meet with students one-on-one, either virtually, or if you want to come camp out in this lovely room that I'm in, I can set you up to review resumes for students, to conduct mock interviews with our students, to really help them learn how to talk about themselves. I also need volunteers for these things called informational interviews. These are relatively new in career services, so some may not be familiar with this, but the idea of an informational interview is that I need volunteers who are willing to be interviewed. And the idea of an informational interview is we match a student to someone who's doing something that that student wants and aspires to do. And the student interviews you, right? Interviews you about how did you get where you are? What have been the challenges you faced? What have been your successes? What have been your failures? What has helped you and what hasn't helped you? And getting that information to help them plan for their future. I'm very happy to give you a teaser that this coming summer, I'm diligently working with Lori and with Severin and Jenny and Gina and all the folks in the Office of Engagement to create a new program that will match alumni with students for a virtual coffee and conversation. So please be on the lookout for that information about that shortly with a link to a short survey. The idea here is we're going to randomly, within some bounds, we're going to randomly match you with a junior or a senior. And it is your opportunity to talk about what was it like when you left Stevens and went out into the workforce? What were your challenges? What were your successes? What do you wish you had known 3 years before you walked through the door of your first full-time job? And so that's what that program is going to be. I can only tease it for you right now because we are working on the finishing touches and we are building the survey, but it is coming and it is coming soon. And so I will need volunteers who are willing to sit in a virtual space like this for an hour or two with a student to enjoy your favorite hot or cold beverage and just have a conversation with a student. And of course, we always need internship opportunities, full-time job opportunities. If you work in an organization or own your own company and can create and help create and offer internship or full-time job opportunities, that is wonderful. I was sitting in on a webinar just yesterday with the big national organization who works with career service professionals and university recruiting. It's an interesting organization because it covers both the higher education and the corporate side of things, and we sit in an organization together. There's some new research out that they just finished as a 3-year-long research study, and they found that not having an internship or a relevant work experience on your resume negates a 3.0 or higher GPA. Students today going into the job market need relevant in-field experience as part of their education. If you have a perfect 4.0, but you did not do an internship or did not do a job that gave you that field experience, you are in a worse position than the student who has a midline GPA, but got out and did the internship and had the experience. That is, for those of us in career services, that is a significant shift of the last probably 20 to 25 years, even shorter than that, maybe even 15 years, where GPA used to just govern so much of your job opportunity. Companies aren't looking at GPAs anymore. They are looking at what you did in the real world while you were getting your education. I'm even seeing a growth in companies who don't even want to know your GPA. They don't care anymore. They want to know what you did. They want to know where the rubber met the road for you. So these internship opportunities are so critical to our students. So I would love to talk to anybody about opportunities like that. You can see there on the, I'm really bad at doing the mirroring thing, but if you're looking at the screen, it's the right-hand side. You have my contact information. You know, I'm happy for anybody to reach out to me. You can reach out to me email, you can give me a phone call. That is my office phone number. I'm happy to talk with you about how we can get you involved here with the CCPD and with our students. There's some interesting research and the growth of social media. And I'm not going to say that social media is a bad thing. I think it's got some wonderful tools and some wonderful abilities to it. But there's some interesting research that says something needs to be presented to us. Information has to be presented to us 3 times before it sticks. We have to see new information 3 times before we're really learning and absorbing it. I am one person. Our faculty are one people. Sometimes we need the voice of alumni saying the exact same things we are saying to really get our message to stick with students. And so I need your voice and I need your help. So I'm going to try and stop talking for a little bit and let you guys ask me questions. That's all I had prepared to say ahead of you all shooting questions at me and wanting to know more or anything like that. So please fire away.
Well, I'm really excited about your thought process. I'm a retired corporation owner and sold 3 businesses. And yeah, I never asked for anybody's GPA. Now, I was impressed when somebody graduated summa cum laude, but that wasn't on my questionnaire. And so it's interesting. My corporations weren't necessarily female owned. We had a common carrier. We had semis running up and down the interstate. We had farm gasoline and diesel. We sold propane for a long time. We had convenience stores. And what you're saying makes complete sense to me. When we were wanting a truck driver, usually we thought about male. We would have been, there are many more females driving trucks all over the United States now than there were when I graduated from Stevens. But everybody wants, and it was even interesting, yesterday I was in a conversation where they said, yeah, we all want the farmer because they know how to run a business, they know how to fix things, they've got a wide range of understanding of what might need to be done and can figure out how to fix things when they don't have the right part.
Absolutely. You know, again, my background is human resources, and I've been in that position where I've been able to hire people before, right? People who worked for me in my human resources roles. And I tell this to students all the time when we're talking about what are the things you need to know as a student and what do you need to do to be successful in the workplace. I could hire someone into an entry-level position in my human resources organization, and I can teach you everything I need you to know about human resources. If you're processing payroll, I can teach you how to process payroll. I can teach you how to do an electronic personal action form and to file a hire or a termination paperwork. I can teach you all that easily. What I am not, and I'm willing to teach you that, what I am not interested in teaching you is in human resources. When you have someone sitting in your office who is mad at you because you just delivered bad news to them because you had to, because that was your role, I need someone who can de-escalate the situation. And I'm not interested in teaching you how to do that. I need someone who can naturally de-escalate and deal with someone. And so many companies nowadays are saying, we need people with this, the big term we use in career services right now is soft skills, right? If you're familiar with that idea at all, it's your ability to communicate, it's your ability to work on a team, to be organized, to collaborate, to provide leadership. Those are the skills that companies are interested in. Certainly certain jobs require technical knowledge and hard skills, right? A graphic designer has got to be able to create graphics, but it's those soft skills that are really so critical nowadays. And you hone those soft skills and you master those soft skills in things like internships and stuff like that, where you can, or experiential learning. I talk about internships, but I do want to always say I am so broad about what I put under the umbrella of an internship, right? It's experiential learning, it's field experience for our teachers, it's practicum experience for our counseling students, it's research experience for our health sciences students, it's that ability to go to Okoboji when you're a musical theater student in the summer, and it's that ability to actually put on a fashion show when you're in the fashion programming. And so it is so much more than that, than just this kind of typical definition of what an internship is, but all of it is so important to our future, the future success of our students. Anybody else have any questions for me about ways to be involved or about what the CCPD is and what we do and what we talk about with students?
Well, I know. I would wave, but my camera's off. What kind of questions are the students asking? Are they, I guess I'm interested in, are they asking more about, specific career-driven things or the environment, the work environment, especially now with, office versus work from home? What, I guess maybe broader topics versus just specifically about the field that we work in.
Sure. So Katie's question, just for anybody who didn't hear it, was what are the kind of questions that I'm getting from students? Are they broad? Are they specific? And things like that. And my short answer is yes. Students ask a wide range of questions, and it's really it varies so much from student to student. I certainly have conversations with students where they know, I talk to freshmen who broadly know that they have a topic they like, but they don't know what they want to do with it. They don't know, they're open, right? They haven't found their love, their vocation. They have their passion, but not their vocation. And so, my job in that situation is to help them find that path, to expose them to various opportunities. I have students who have very specific questions about, any number of things, from specific things on resumes to navigating, sorry, my screen just maybe went away. I'm gonna stop my share. I think we've all, hopefully you've had a chance to see what I was sharing. So it really varies from student to student. And I'll say that a common question that or a common topic that I am talking with students about is truthfully students being confident in who they are and their abilities. I have lots of conversations that start with something along the lines of, well, I'm really interested in that internship program you sent an email about with, for example, the Smithsonian. Just this year, I was promoting an internship with the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And I had students go, oh, that would be so cool. I would love to do that. but there's no way I'll get that internship. There's no way I'm qualified for that position. My response to them is always, there is but one way to guarantee you will not get an opportunity you want, and that's to never apply. Beyond that, you don't know. And so I think one of the spaces that I spend the most time in is simply helping students realize that their experiences are good and valid and wonderful, and that they have those to lean on and offer and talk about. And this is another space that I think Alumnae can be so influential in, because to have Alumnae come back to Stevens and talk to students, and have a student go, well, I'm in the leadership of this organization, and maybe the alumni gets to say, oh my gosh, I was in that organization too when I was a student. Oh, wasn't that thing so much fun? And you get to talking, and then the student realizes that is a valuable experience to go forward and to lean on and to talk about. I get the opportunity to talk to accepted students when they come to visit campus, right? So they're students that have committed to coming to Stevens. They're coming for visits to set up classes and things like that. And I get an opportunity to talk to them. And I always say that my chief job here at Stevens is that they are going to do amazing things. People like Dr. Nunley in student development and student affairs have amazing leadership opportunities for them. We have a great DEI program being run by my wonderful colleague, Shashan Dial. We have wonderful opportunities on campus. We have Okoboji for our musical theater students and our theater tech students. We have a great fashion program. We have the agency run by my wonderful colleague, Arola. She is actually down the hall from me in the CCPD that puts out things like The Harbinger and Stevens Life. They're going to get to do all those great things. My job is to make sure they know how to talk about them with their future employer. That's my job, is to make sure that they can talk about the great things they've done. So again, the short answer to your question, Katie, is yes, we talk about anything and everything with students, and it varies so widely from student to student.
Interesting, thank you. Because I was thinking when I was at Stevens, my questions weren't necessarily about what my career choices would look like, but more about, what the interview process is like, and like more real world questions than things that I could read about, I guess.
Yep, and I help guide through all those questions and so many things. It's wonderful. For me, it's great that I have that background in human resources as well, because I can help navigate all sorts of questions like that. But then also, we start talking about the bigger questions of purpose and passion and vocation and things like that as well. So,
and in the classes that Dr. Riley, you said, teaches about their senior year, does she talk about things like, retirement planning or picking the right health insurance? Can you kind of talk more about that, please?
Sure. So yes, actually we do. In the CCPD curriculum, we start from, in freshman year, we really start with the idea of getting to know Stevens and getting to know yourself, right? Those are our two big themes: getting you acquainted on campus, and then starting to think about who you are as an individual. What are your career goals? What are your aspirations? And what are your strengths? From there, we start building on the true foundations of career management, right? Resumes, cover letters, mock interviewing skills, online branding, search, internet, being able to search for a job, maintaining a LinkedIn profile, all of those things. But by the time we get to the senior year, we actually chart a transition to getting ready to send you out from Stevens. And so in your senior year, we start talking about things like financial literacy, right? How do you make a budget? Hopefully you're about to get your first full-time job, which I think all of us would agree, when you get that first full-time job, that is more money that you are directly responsible for than ever before in your life. How do you budget that? How do you make sound financial decisions as a young person? And we talk about, what do benefits plans look like? What does some of this, I have a background in human resources, but I'll tell you honestly, I don't touch benefits in human resources. It is too convoluted. It is too confusing. It is not an area that I ever want to try and become an expert in. I have wonderful colleagues who are experts in benefits. More power to them. I start getting lost between the numbers and the letters and the titles of the accounts and retirement funds. But we talk about, what does it mean to have a 401k versus a pension? What do some of these things mean? And so we do, especially once they get to that senior year, we really do start talking about, how do you negotiate a salary offer? How do you budget? How do you talk about benefits? And part of evaluating offers is not just pay, but what does the benefit plan look like, right? There may be a company that has a great base pay, but when you look at the benefits, they're really not that great. And you may if those benefits are important to you, you're probably getting a better value for yourself if you took a lower salary with a better benefits package. And so we do talk about that, especially again by senior year, because hopefully by their senior year, we've laid the foundation of how to build a resume and things like that. So now we get the opportunity to prepare them to take that next step.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or a comment or an idea? I'm open to ideas too, folks. I've got a pad of paper here. I will write down any idea you throw at me. I have a comment in the chat that I wanted to share. Oh yes, someone's making the comment that more than one person that is so surprised by the difference in the salary and what ended up being taken after taxes went out. And yes, that is sometimes certainly a shock in or taxes and benefit payments and retirement contributions and things like that. But part of what our goal in when we start talking about financial planning is, I think all of us have seen that data, putting away money right out of college for retirement pays such deep dividends down the road, right? And so, really working with students to make those sound financial decisions early on is a piece of what we talk about.
Okay, if I decide, and I think this is awesome, I'm really excited. I think I would like to do it, but I don't even know what should be in a resume. I've been in the same position with the same company for almost 50 years. So there'd be no way that I could guide a student on what employers are wanting in a resume now. I know what I might have looked at when I was looking for an employee, through the last 50 years, but to have me do that, and it was a small corporation. At one time we did have 100 employees, but it's not large. It's not like the national, international, and things like that. So would Stevens help me in some of those things, or would that just be part of what I wouldn't worry about talking about and you would have someone else?
Either one. I would always say, part of any conversation that I have with an alumna when they first reach out to me is, what are your passions? What do you love to do? What don't you love to do? I sit in this weird space because I do have a background in HR and in recruitment. I love resumes. I love them. I love looking at them. I have a super nuanced and critical eye of it. And I'm always telling students, I am super nitpicky because this is what I did, right? I looked at these things. I love resumes. You may not love resumes, but maybe you loved talking to people and getting to do the hiring. So maybe resume reviews aren't a great fit for you, but mock interviews are. Or even if you are interested in resumes or mock interviews and you don't, I have a wonderful, wonderful plethora of tools in my toolkit to help get you up to speed and get you prepared. And so if you have the passion and the desire to do it, as I kind of said earlier, I can teach you the things we need to have students looking for. And things like that. I need, if you have that passion and that desire to connect with students and to really help them out, I can give you all the resources you need to work with a student on anything. And so often I come from this background of kind of general human resources. I've done different things, but I've always been in higher ed. But I've searched and helped with recruitment from everything from CPAs to attorneys to project managers to executives, CIOs, presidents, chancellors, researchers, marketing professionals. I've kind of done the gambit. So I have a pretty good eye towards a lot of things, but my eye is a broad generalist's eye. And so sometimes having the in-industry eye is really helpful. Someone who spent 10, 15, 20, 30 years in an industry doing a certain type of work, you have an entirely different view on the same resume than I do, because I have this broad generalist view. And that feedback, both sets of feedback are so important. So I can give you lots of resources if you have the passion to do it. I would also hazard to say, as I often say to my students, you probably know more than you really are giving yourself credit for, and have a lot more to offer than maybe you're giving yourself credit for. So, but part of my job is to give you a toolkit to help you really realize that and work with students. So does that answer your question? Anybody else have any questions or anything like that?
A lot of people here, but they're quiet.
Yeah. I just tried to talk and forgot I was muted. Noah, we sure appreciate your insights, and hopefully everybody took away something from your presentation, and we'll continue to work on ways that our alumni can volunteer, and we'll work with Noah and other folks and spread the word. I know we hear a lot that our alumni do want to help, and they say, how do you need our help? And so we're going to take you up on it.
All right, I am going to drop in the chat to everyone. If you know how to get into the Zoom chat, I just dropped my email address for those who maybe didn't get it when the slide was up. I would love to hear from you if you have any interest at all in being involved. I would love to get a conversation going with you about what that would look like and where your passions lie. So please, please, please reach out to me. I think career services is a fantastic space where it's really a great opportunity for that gift of time and expertise, which is so important to our students as they're getting ready to prepare to enter the workforce. So I would love to hear from any of you and all of you.